Hello, guys, and welcome to Mark Tully, the Vernal, a spoken journal where I talk about real life situations, the mental health and personal development tools that you can use to overcome them and reach your full potential. How bloody good is that? Right, on this episode, we're going to talk about SMART goals. They've been around since the dinosaurs, right? So I'm not inventing anything here. I do have my own method that allows you to use your emotions, negative and positive, to your advantage. Now, I've got a workbook. I'm going to attach the file if I can figure out how in the show notes. If not, you can hit me up for the SMART Goals workbook on my Instagram, which is Personal Development for Men. I am going to try and keep this one nice and punchy, but I like to yap on, so we'll see how it goes. I'm also going to be using the workbook. I just wanted to show you this like this, so I don't know how that's going to work on the video. Probably going to look really bad if I'm looking down and reading from it and all the rest of it, but yeah, fuck it. I'm just trying to figure this shit out, so we'll give it a spin, and if this one's crap, I won't do it again. If it's good, I will. But I would like to say, so when you print the workbook off, print on both sides, flip on the long edge, and then staple it down the side here. The second page is blank, so you can do this. There's a little personal note for me about how I used to wreck my life with self-sabotage, and now I'm doing all this stuff that's really fulfilling. It's quite touching, that one. And then it gets into the actual SMART goal stuff, the nitty-gritty. I'm going to explain as much as I can. I just want to show you my work, because I'm amazing. But no, I just want to show you this. If you're watching on the video, that it's actually really good, and how it all works, and I'll explain as I get into it. Sorry, I'll stop yammering. SMART goals, right? Been around, like I said, since the beginning of time, used in many, many different ways. There's many different sort of nuances to it. Like, people have the A's something different, or the R's something different. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. If you use a different one, then use the different one. But my one is SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. Specific is exactly that. If you're going to save some money, put it right down to pence. If you're going to run a marathon, in what time? And the reason for this is our brains love clarity, right? When your brain's got something it definitely can focus on, it's like, right, let's go. And then your subconscious can start to put things into place that actually make it happen. And it all kind of happens magically in the background. You don't really know about it, but it does happen. Remember, your brain's a big supercomputer. Then the next one, measurable, is how are you going to know? Because some people might want to, this is normally off the back of a wheel of life with 8 different aspects of your life. So some people might want to work on a business and career. And it's like, how are you going to know you're at what point in your business? And that's all completely up to the client, the person filling out the form, right? It's just like, who is gonna, the worksheet, should I say, because form sounds shit. That sounded shit, didn't it? It's a workbook, and it's for you to gain clarity and drive and passion in your life again, right? It's not a form. No, 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 no. Anyway, yeah, the measurable one is, how are you going to know? How are you going to measure it? Like, money's easy, running any kind of event's easy, time, getting a certain score and whatever it is, the sport that you play. But things like, I want my friendships to be better. How are you going to know? So this is an opportunity to set your own marker. Just because there's not a measuring stick for friendship, you can't, sit it next to your friend, record a conversation and play it in an app, and the app tells you if you're friends or not. There's none of that shit. It doesn't exist. But you can say, I want to be able to share this openly with my friends, and they share back, or celebrate this thing together. Anything. You come up with your own marker for this one, right? Whatever, obviously related to how you're going to know your goal, a specific goal, how you're going to measure that, how you're going to know. Attainable. Has it been done before by humans? Is it humanly possible? Maybe it's never been done before by humans, which is incredible. But if you're trying to say that you're going to, jump from Australia to New Zealand in one fell swoop, yeah, you're probably not. Not without some kind of vehicle. So realistic. And then relevant is the R. That is, I had to look down there. Who doesn't know how to spell smart? Relevant is, does it apply to your life? Is it taking you forward to where you want to go? You know what I mean? So, like, whatever you want from your life, this is after creating a life goal from, overarching life goal from your core value session, which I will go through in another podcast. And then you create a North Star because that's what you want. So everything you then therefore do takes you towards what you really want in your life, right? Based on who you really are. Makes a lot of sense. So is it relevant? And that's an easy yes or no. Then time bound, when? On the clarity aspect, it's actually really good to say a date and even a time on that day that you want to see, which is your measurement, your marker. You want to see X by this time. Bam, done, perfect. That's a really easy bit. It should only take about 10 minutes once you get into it. If it takes you longer the first time you're ever doing them, it did for me. Obviously, as humans, when we're doing something for the first time, we take a lot more time figuring it out, don't we? Now, I like to get into it. I'm going to have to look at the workbook here because I can't remember the exact order I do this in. I did write this, but you wouldn't think it. Okay, first section. After that, 10 small steps. Now, what this does is it's absolutely amazing because a lot of people, myself included, all the time, remember when in this together, is when you're thinking of doing something, you're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Oh, I really don't know how to do that. You know, I can't figure that out. Well, make that the first step. Figure this section out. Then once what will you do then? What's the next step after you've figured that out? Making these tiny, 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 tiny steps is the key because a tiny step, you'll always do it, right? Whereas if they're big, impossible steps, like you're going, I'm going to learn how to do marketing. I've tried that. It's really tough. That's not a step. That's about 1,000 steps, right? Because it's hard, you're more likely to give up because we're all humans and we live in a day and age where everything's so convenient that we end up doing nothing because it's difficult or nothing worth doing because it's a little bit difficult, you know? So we just need to understand that and work away around it by making tiny little steps, tiny little steps. And you get the 10 steps down. The first step is actually doing the SMART goal exercise, by the way. So bang, you've only got to do 9. But that's the example of making them really tiny to make them easy, right? Then, so you write down your 10 steps and you get this motivation. It's to get the ball rolling. You know, you're like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah, I actually do know how to make my own plan here. I can. It's quite empowering, you know, it's really, really good section. I'm not going to say that about all the sections, by the way. Your reason why. Note down the purpose of your goal. What's the point? This is the next section. Why are you actually doing it, right? We'll leave all the positive emotions out because that comes in a later section. Be like, what's the point? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's the purpose of it? What's it going to give you in your life? Like material things, everything apart from the emotions, right? Because that's an important part coming up. Now, next part, let me get this right. I told you it was coming up. What are the positive emotions you're going to get? This gives you the motivation. You get the motivation from the positivity here. So, like, you know, when you achieve that goal, when you run through that crossing line, when you build that business to this point that you've set, whatever it is, when you lose that weight, whatever it is you want to do, you know, you feel better, you feel confident, proud, you're going to be, you know, fulfilled, like whatever it is, just really shut your eyes, put yourself there as if you've already achieved it and just embrace that and then note down all the emotions. All this, by the way, is creating clarity and drive the whole way. Now, the next section, which I love this section, is all the reasons which is going to stop you. Like, couldn't be asked to go to the gym. Wanted to buy this thing because I felt like shit. You know, like, you know, booked that holiday instead, so I didn't save that money. Got sidetracked by went partying with my friends, so I didn't have the time or the energy because I was hungover to work on my business and ended up feeling crap and it all spiraled out of control. All the reasons you can think of right now. Now, obviously, life is life and things pop up. You're not going to be able to think of all the reasons, but you can get a lot down. Now, this exercise is brilliant because on the other side, I'll show you, on the other side of the page is the opportunity for you to write all the solutions to said, let's call them blocks. So you have all these blocks and then you have all these solutions. And every solution you come up with, have a little part in your head for your brain. Because remember, our brain is like a child or a puppy dog. We need to train it, right? So you're training your brain for a positive, solution-focused mindset here. This is vital. This is really, really, really important psychology for life because life throws curveballs at us all the time, right? Now, if you train your brain to have a solution-focused mindset, instead of getting worried and going, oh, fuck's sake, whenever things happen, obviously you can do that a little bit, but then the brain goes, oh, I know this game. This is the game when I figure out something, how to get around this or how to deal with this situation or how to, you know, just step back from it, breathe, process the emotions, all these kind of things. The brain then starts to hand you stuff because it wants the reward, it wants the treat. It's just like a You're a child, you bribe it all the time, give it a lollipop. Next section, write down. Oh, yeah, I love this one. So this is actually a big lesson as well in life. This one here is write down all the emotions you're going to get if you don't achieve the goal. Disappointment, the sadness, the self doubt that you're going to get from it, the negative emotions you're going to get about yourself. It's going to really get in there. Now it's important to go in and embrace that. And it's a bit dark, but you go in there and be like, oh, fuck. Most things a human being does is driven from fear of the opposite. Like we go to the gym because we're actually feared of being unhealthy, or we're feared of, because we see it all the time. Like you get the guy in the cigarette packets dying, unhealthy, right? You probably think he didn't go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym because I'm feared of that. But we think in our head, I'm going to go to the gym because I want to be big and strong and fit. We think it's for the positive, but it's actually for the negative. It's really interesting, this. And it's how Western medicine, not Western medicine, sorry, that's a different story. That's another podcast. Western advertising works. We buy the cool stuff because we are feared of not fitting in, right? Because it goes back to our tribal instincts in caveman days, safety in numbers. If you're in a small tribe or by yourself, you were going to die. Quite literally, it was like, you needed to be in a big tribe to fight off the saber-toothed tigers, to find food, to get food, because as an individual, it was a lot harder. Like, you couldn't just go down to Coles or, Asda if you're in the UK. Like, didn't happen back then, surprisingly. So they're tapping into so we get the cool car, the stuff, the Adidas tracksuit and your Burberry cap when you're 16, and you know what I mean. You'll do these things that you do to fit in because it's our tribal instinct of fear of death, which is mental, isn't it? Right. So this tapping into this section is you get the drive then to get away from those emotions and that stuff as well. So you've got the motivation from the positive, and then you've got the drive from the fear, and they really come together. And I like to call that inspiration. You're then inspired to achieve your goal. And that is actually the whole thing. And I think we're actually doing really good for time. This is brilliant. So in the workbook as well, we have the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset on the back, a little spiel. Okay, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that. You can read it. It does say, I know pretty much what it says. And it's all about the fixed mindset, which is like, I will be happy when I achieve said goal. And then you achieve said goal, you get the house, you get the wife, you get the promotion, you get whatever it was. And then you're happy for a limited amount of time. Could be anywhere between 2 minutes to 2 weeks to 2 months to even 2 years. Probably not 2 years, but it's limited is the point. And then when it wears off, you're like, oh no, what's next? And you haven't took stock properly of who you are and who you've become to achieve that goal. Versus the growth mindset, which says, let's celebrate every single step of the way and really focus on getting better all the time. And the goals they're like a symptom. The goals become a symptom of you improving yourself. And that means when you're setting goals, instead of setting them in a place when you're fixed on achieving a goal, you have to be able to achieve it, right? So you got to limit your mind. Whereas if it's your growth mindset and you don't actually care, goals are only for direction. You can set it way, way up in the stars and you might not get to that crazy point because it's so bold and ballistic, but you might, and you're going to get a hell of a lot further than you are when you were limited mind, fixed mindset, limiting to setting it at a reachable point, right? So growth mindset, go for gold with your goals, be bold, be wild. That's from Calvin Coyles. Be strong, believe in yourself and push yourself to achieve stuff because you'll feel it in here so much more. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. If the workbook is not in the show notes, please hit me up on Personal Development for Men on Instagram. Thank you for listening. See you next month. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.